He was into findom because I do that too. And so I am like a dominatrix. And so, yeah, it was really interesting.
Okay, so you said that women should prioritize finances in a man?
Yes.
Over, what do you think women tend to prioritize?
Like love.
Typically, love. Okay.
Yeah.
So finances first. You also say here, women don't need men. Do you want to elaborate a bit on that?
I don't think that women, like a lot of people think that women need men in like society to maintain society, and I don't think so. I think women would be perfectly fine. I think women would do better off without men.
I agree too.
How about this
would
scenario?
do without women.
Well, so let me ask you a couple clarifying.
Really?
Hold on, let me ask a couple clarifying questions here. What about this scenario? If men just instantly disappeared, or women instantly disappeared, because your position is men would fare worse than the women. So in that scenario where it's not like, oh, okay, men are going to disappear in like a year, but it's like men disappear tonight and there's no ability for the women to prepare, you think the women fare better?
Definitely.
Why? Wow.
Because I think, first of all, I think men's society would it would go stagnant. I think the reason why men have done as much as they've done so far is for women and because of women. And so women, on the other hand, are quite motivated outside of men. Older women who are, divorced and don't plan on getting in relationships anymore still maintain their lifestyle. They still keep their places clean. They still, they still maintain.
Here, a couple more questions. Who here agrees with her on this? Just curious. Anybody agree? So instantaneously, all men disappear, or instantaneously, all women disappear. Her position is men would fare worse in that scenario than women. Who agrees with her?
There was like a study on that with kids. I know, like, I still think that men and women should.
Do you remember what the study was called by chance?
I don't.
I saw it.
But it was like elementary schoolers, or maybe it was middle schoolers, but they were in like a house for a couple of days, just girls, and then versus guys, and the girls actually did a lot better than just the boys. And that what
was the age of the children?
I'm pretty sure they were in middle school.
Okay, I don't see how that pertains to this. Does anybody else agree with her? Going once, going.
She agrees.
Who? You agree?
Yeah.
And you agree. Okay. And then you mentioned that women, they keep their houses in good shape, right?
Yeah.
But what happens in this scenario when within 72 hours there's no electricity, there's no food, the water stops working, there's fires that break out, and you don't have male firefighters to put these fires out. So let's assume like a woman loses her residence. What then?
Women know how to collect food. I mean, back when we were hunter-gatherers, the gatherers, being women, would
you think the average urban woman knows how to collect food in the forest?
Yeah, that's what women used to do.
They used to do, but that was like taught. It's not like you can't just drop somebody who's lived in civilization their entire life into the forest. Like, do you think an average?
Then that would go for both men and women.
Yeah, I don't think the average man could do that.
No, because even then there's a strength discrepancy. So you take like a man who's grown up in an urban environment and a woman who's grown up in an urban environment. They both have like very little knowledge, just on the basis that men have more strength, generally speaking. The man's already in an advantage.
In what way? Like, what is that strength going to do for him?
You don't think early human beings relied on like strength and labor to move? Like, okay, I want to chop down a tree. I need to chop up this firewood. I need to move these materials to this position.
I think women could work as a team, like community.
Well, in this scenario, I'm thinking like one-on-one, but even then, 2 women don't possess the same strength as 2 men. Or 3 women don't possess the same strength as 3 men.
Right, but I don't think you need to have like some incredible degree of strength. I think that as long as you have a community, you have a tribe, you'd be fine. It doesn't really matter what level of strength there is. I think women have enough strength to survive on their own.
What was the
Well,
question?
would you be interested in a real social experiment then? Let's say you get 12 of your girlfriends who have even survival skills. Let's say they have survival
I
skills.
don't even think I have 12.
We'll collect 12 men who have survival skills, or we can collect 12 who don't to 12 women, and then give them just a knife apiece and send them off into the wilderness.
I mean, they already do this. Do you watch Naked and Afraid?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they all
did.
have.
They did
How did the women do?
They actually did do this. So
How did the women do?
Women survive just fine by themselves.
No, they went over to the men during the exact same social experiment I'm talking about, which didn't include 12-year-olds, okay, when they were fully grown adults. And here's what happened.
They
The
did this
women
in a
were
Mr.
crying,
Beast video.
they were freezing, and they went over and begged the men to help them. And the men finally did. And I see no reason why that would not be the case. And by the way, these were all ages of men, all ages of women, and they failed miserably. Miserably.
I've seen episodes where the women have hunted and caught like large kills, and and the women, they do get multiple seasons.
I'm not disputing that women can't do in groups and teams. I mean, women are not stupid. I'm sure that they can hunt. But it's the degree to which you're effective at the thing that matters. So when Brian says strength, I don't even think that you realize what he's saying. When you're talking about all the labor jobs which keep society going, that requires a great degree of physical strength. And physical strength is multiplied by multiple men. No, you don't think so. You think it's just done by machines. The nice thing about
most of it
machines
is,
that machines take a great amount of physical strength to use. You have a gal here who said she was in maintenance, yeah? She'll tell you, if you want to pick up a 400-pound machine motor, it's really heavy, just so you know. It's not an easy feat. So I don't know where you get the idea that raw strength is not still the staple of human labor, because it still is. We have labor-saving devices, but strength is still very much key in labor.
Sure, but
also just you do acknowledge that there's discrepancies in terms of representation when it comes to critical infrastructure jobs, right?
Sure, yeah.
So, like, for example, like water, I've got a list here: water, sewage, electricity, gas, fuel refinement, garbage collection, telecommunications, IT infrastructure, road maintenance, truck and delivery drivers, police, fire rescue. These are predominated by men. Do you agree with this?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just factually true. So if all men disappear instantly, there's not enough women in these fields to essentially, there's not enough women in the fields where if they just disappeared immediately, it would just be it would be a complete catastrophe. And I mean, you'd have electricity gone within 72 hours, telecommunications gone within 72 hours. Women are not in those fields when like there's a snowstorm or a hurricane and the power's out and it's below freezing in Bozeman, Montana, and they got to fix the power lines, or they got to fix something. They got to check the grid at 1 a.m. and it's snowing and hailing outside. Is it a woman who goes, or it's a man? It's always a man.
Okay, so what happened during World War II when men had to go to war and women had to take over the jobs?
Women had, first
Did
of
we
all, not
lose
all
electricity?
women, not all men went to World War II.
Right.
Women stepped up to some degree, but they also had plenty of time to prepare for it. In the scenario I provided, men disappeared instantly. Mm-hmm. So in that scenario, women would not be able to like, oh, okay, we're just going to take over the water, the sewage, the telecoms. There wouldn't be enough women who have the knowledge base or even necessarily the physical capacity to even do some of these jobs, even if they did have the knowledge base.
I think they would. I mean, we still have the internet. Women are dominating education.
The internet would be down within 72 hours.
Why?
Do you realize how often like there needs to be maintenance?
Because you seeing the internet runs on electricity, and if there's no more electrical workers,
there's no female electricians.
The vast, overwhelming amount of them are men. I'm talking vast. I think it's like 98%. In fact, I think 100% of linemen. Last I checked, linemen. Those are the people who put up your power poles. I think they're all men.
Right.
It was like decimal point. that wasn't men.
Right. Maybe you're right. Maybe it would go out. There wouldn't be enough women to sustain, but I think over time women would evolve and we would get it.
Well, you have one generation, because without men, you're basically going to go extinct, and unless, of course, you decide that you're going to use frozen male sperm and then only keep the women, but you're going to run out eventually. So then I guess you would have to have men, so that men could then re-inseminate you at some point. And then the second you have men to do that, you have the problem of they're really fucking strong and may decide that you get to go in the cages. So I don't really know. I don't really know how this is even feasible from the female standpoint. If all men disappeared tomorrow, it seems to me like this would be dire and catastrophic for women. Not exactly sure how it would be for men.
We don't need it anyway. The stuff you're talking about.
Right. I mean, we've survived as societies without electricity.
You do realize
your body was conditioned for this. So you're talking about conditions. So if you live in a world, like if you go to the third world, for instance, have you ever seen what's called the third world squat? That now, if you just took that normal squat sitting position that almost everybody sits in the third world all day long, your calves would be killing you within about 20 minutes, and you'd have to get back up, because most people don't sit like this, right? We sit on chairs, which is actually bad for our back. They're actually conditioned for this movement because they were raised in an environment for the movement. The soles of their feet are conditioned to not have shoes. They were raised in an environment for that. Everything about them is conditioned for the environment that they're in. That is not the case anymore. You're not conditioned to go out in the forest and find fucking berries, okay? Modern women are not conditioned to do that.
Neither are modern men. Modern men mostly would not have these survival skills either.
Modern men keep up forestry. Modern men keep up physical conditioning for outdoor jobs and outdoor work and outdoor foraging and hunting and things like that. Women do not.
And there are women who do these jobs too.
Very few.
So I live in Bozeman, Montana, and I can tell you that if men disappeared, some people will say, we don't need these amenities to survive. There's a large surplus of the population that lives in a climate where if these things disappear, millions and millions of people would just die. So, like Brian said, if they had time to prepare, if females have time to prepare, they can obviously make that happen. But I think to say that if men just disappeared, women would be fine.
We're already prepared, though. We already have education. We already have food in grocery stores.